I was really efficient that year. I think I spent my whole life leading up to that year. It's like all of my efficiency was just waiting to happen then. It's suddenly dissipated now.
Yeah, but it was pretty full on there for a moment. And you have said, I think in other places, that Firefly was possibly, let's get a little feedback there, Firefly was possibly the biggest tragedy of your career. It was for me too, I have to say. I mean, Firefly was my absolute.
Alien Resurrection knocked off the top spot for worst experience, and I don't think, not would, that there will be anything as bad for me as that loss. Every day I think about episodes I was going to make and how cool.
Well, has television turned out for you?
Television broke up with me. It said we could still be friends. But they didn't want to see it. You know, I'm never going to turn my back on television. Television has something that you cannot achieve anywhere else. That kind of living with a story for years and years, and in a collaborative fashion, where you're living with the people who are helping you tell the story, the writers, and of course the actors. You know, over a series of just keep investigating the same thing, turning the same rock over and seeing it in a new way. That is such a gift. It is something you don't get in movies at all. It is something you just don't get anywhere else. You write a series of books, maybe about the same character, and have a similar feeling, but you can't do that, you know, collaboratively in the same way. It is, it's something I adore, and maybe my favorite kind of storytelling, but I'm not going to do it for a while. You know, when I said I wanted to make big summer movies, I really just wanted to tell stories. Ultimately, I'm perfectly happy as long as I'm telling some kind of story. Doesn't, you know, it could be a comic book, which is, again, something where you're going to live with it over a period of time, but it's still not quite the same experience. It doesn't have quite the same immediacy as putting out a TV show every week. You know, I'm really excited to be making a movie, but I was really excited to be making the internet thing that I was going to do before that. It's all stories, but the thing that TV has, nothing else has. I'm never going to turn my back on it. I just have to find a venue where they will let me actually make it the way that I make it, which is a little antithetical to TV. We were talking earlier about how when TV shows were taken seriously, it was like, something like Dennis Potter, where it's like, well, this is better than TV because it's sort of anti-TV, it's distancing and strange. And then actually popular shows became taken seriously, and that was a sea change. But I do think that I'm a little distancing and strange. I do think that while I think of myself as a guy who's making these great populist things, just like Star Wars, only it's dark and miserable, and everybody's sad and they die. Disconnect too much. They do, Mark. They're very trusting, Mark. It's kind of like the early days of the WB when I came back to my agent and I said it was really different, really interesting. They respected what I was talking about and listened to me and they really let me have my own way. Marvel, they do actually. They know exactly what they want to do, but they don't mind a filmmaker making his film in the service of what it is they want to do. They're not trying to press me into something that isn't me, which is really
this is a great moment. Finally, you get to join your comic book love and the possibility of making a film. You get to make TV series, never mind. But you get to make a film. So clearly that's joining the dots at a particular time or whatever.
Oh yes. I was reading in 2011. It's a big deal for me. I want to make a comic book movie, and I was like, nobody can make a comic book movie. And then Spider-Man came out, and I was like, okay, you can make a comic book. You know, and there are a couple, I like Batman Begins a lot, there are a couple of hits. But most of them, I think, haven't. And I also feel that we sort of, we went from the really terrible Hollywood executive's idea of what a comic movie should be to a very short moment when we sort of started getting it right, and then went directly to directly to Watchmen, Kick-Ass, Dark Knight, where we're taking the comic movie for granted, and now we want to see what's behind it. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. First I want to see an awesome movie about superheroes that are awesome, that I really care about the whole time. I haven't seen enough of those. I don't want to deconstruct it yet. First I want to construct it. So I do feel like there's still a place for that. And this genre, which, you know, I had been desperate to see my whole childhood, and then in my adulthood saw it happen while I was busy making TV shows. So I went, wait, just wait, I'll be there in a minute. You know, and then began to fear, is it over? But ultimately, I think it's very much not.
I have to say that I'm so thrilled Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, that was, you know, that sort of defined the Marvel film. When Kevin Feige worked at Marvel for a long time now, from many meetings and stuff, he now runs it, and his first act as at Marvel was to cast Robert. And I saw him, congratulated him, I was like, that is such a great move. And he was like, I would never have to do that. And that sort of became sort of their benchmark is, get a great American actor to play the guy. And I don't know why I said American, because I'm Australian full person. But get the best guy for the part instead of who's the biggest name. How do we make Angelina Jolie, Kitty Pryde, because people like her. You know, they said, let's get the actor with the chops and make it a really human story, and that works. It's working. So now, I mean, if you look at the cast of the Avengers, it's ridiculous.
It is wrong.
It is sort of right to take a film.
Well, I was planning to do something when the Avengers came up. I was actively developing something. I've been wanting to do something for a long time. I've been trying to set up funding, which is very, very difficult because nobody knows how to make money from this unless you're working at a very low level. I'm perfectly comfortable working at a very low level, but most of the people who invest money in entertainment aren't. They're look at the big prize. That's why we get, $300 million releases instead of, $10 million releases from the studios. But so I was referring to that, but I absolutely want to do more there. The difference, it's weird. I mean, I did Dr. Horrible with complete freedom. Finally, I broke the bonds of television and wrote something that is the exact length of an episode of television. 43 minutes for good fun. And so clearly, and you do have a sort of standards and practices. If you, like I funded Dr. Horrible, the studio was me and my wife, we were the studio. And we did it understanding that we might be throwing the money away. But as I go forward and the investment gets a little greater, if it's coming from me, I'm thinking, well, how am I going to make this back? How I start censoring myself, basically. Not to the point where I can't tell a story, but the internet doesn't offer complete freedom where I can just do any insane or horrible or sexual or weird thing that I want to do, because ultimately I'm still trying to connect with people, and so many people are going to get cut off, or my avenues of making better money are going to get cut off. You get into this mindset where suddenly you realize, so that's how the enemy lives. But the practical reality of trying to make it profitable and not just an incredibly expensive hobby is that you end up having your own restrictions that are sort of similar to television. I know, I feel like it's kind of like a junior at me. history, and everybody remembers how fondly about it, but the beginning is a nightmare. And you're just, and this is absolutely the life of a writer will be pounded down. And the best response to that is to have a controlled amount of insanity. And part of that, you can't go into it thinking, hey, this is going to suck, and don't really watch it. Because you know, that's not a good motivator. You have to assume that it's going to become big for two reasons. One, it keeps you going when other people think that you shouldn't be. And two, it makes you think about, well, how do I really reach that audience? You know, if I really believe this is going to be a cult thing, well, not just how I reach them, what do I say once I have? You start thinking in a broader scope. You start thinking about what really matters about what you're writing. So, yes, I really did think that this was going to happen. I always do. I thought about all 10 of the movies that nobody ever made. You just always go and think about it. Dream big, he said.
Dream large. Okay.
You commented before about corporations sort of suppressing masses of people. With Firefly, you've got the Bluestone Corporation, and in Dollhouse, the Boston Corporation. Do you see corporations that are existing now moving in those kind of directions to bigger, having bigger roles in society and really go for their own ends?
Yes. It is epidemic. In America, you know, every company is buying every other company. In 5 years' time, there will be 2, maybe. And they're being given, you know, basically licensed to become monopolies. And what these corporations do is marginalize the individual so that the corporations can ultimately dictate how the individual lives and keep people poor and keep people dependent and keep people consuming. And they do this so that they can keep their marginal profit where they want it, not where it needs to be in order for them to survive, but wherever they want it. So I very strongly believe that certainly in America, the culture of the giant company is here and it is destroying the fabric of our society. For my email. I do.
There's a website.
That's how I found out if I have a job.
I was only thinking about that. I was divulging your information. However, I do want to ask you to just do a bit of crystal ball gazing, because let's just imagine that it's going to happen. The Avengers is a huge, it is society. It's going to happen. 10 years' time, what do you want to do?
10 years. Wow, everything. But let's see me taking a break. Let's see me finishing that novel. I'd like to finish a book at home. 10 years from now, I'm going to be sleeping.